All right, good deal. Okay, so welcome everybody. We are on our third week of these summit Zoom calls, and I'm so pumped about them, especially this one because I love Dana's post. And I mean, I just feel like she's always been really authentic. So this topic is perfect for her. So get out your notebooks if you don't already have them and get ready to take some mad notes. So take it away, girlfriend.
Alrighty, thanks guys. Bear with me, first ever time to host anything like this. I have a ton of notes. Sometimes when I get nervous, I talk a mile a minute. So if I need to slow down, just let me know or just ask any questions and I'll get to them at the end. So the authentic branding was actually talked about at the TKO, the Power of I Am training that they did at Summit. Essentially, what authentic branding to me means is sharing who you are unapologetically. I know with us running our businesses and stuff on social media, it is a breeding ground for comparing yourself to other people, looking at other people's stories, wanting to discredit your own journey and maybe wanting to copycat what other people are doing. But the whole idea of sharing your story is being true to you, sharing your story unapologetically, not asking. It's one of those things where you do it now and then ask for forgiveness later. It's one of those things, you go all or nothing. You honestly have to put your blinders on. You cannot care what other people are going to think of you, because at the end of the day, we all joined on this journey for a specific reason. And if you're like me, Beachbody and coaching and the people that we've been introduced to has done nothing short of change our lives. So why not be in your face, in people's faces whenever you are sharing your story and being authentic in what you're saying, being completely 100% in love with your journey and sharing that and not caring what other people have to think or say about you. They've said this time and time again, doing something like this, putting yourself out there on social media for the entire world to see. You may lose friends, family may stop talking to you, but at the end of the day, that says more about them than what it says about you, because you are growing yourself, making yourself a better person, not only for you, but for your family. So at the Power of I Am training, they said that people come to social media because they either want to be inspired, they want to be informed about something, or they want to be entertained. The great thing about this job is that we get to do all three of those things on a daily basis. Whenever you, of course, obviously, like if you're, showing up every day, you're inspiring someone who is silently watching you, that at one point, or they can envision themselves where you were in the beginning. They may not be saying anything on your post, commenting, liking, showing love, anything like that, but they are watching. Everything that you are doing at some way, shape, form, or another, you are inspiring people, whether or not you are getting 1 like or 1,000 likes. It doesn't matter. Just know that people think that you are brave. They will tell you that you are brave for showing that, for being vulnerable. Hold on, let me. So I want to talk, because social media, you do have where you obviously were all like coaches, and when I first started coaching, I followed everyone. I followed, of course, Wendy. She's my upline. Everyone on our team page. I was following other coaches from other pages. I was following because they one, I was a brand new coach, and two, just trying to get ideas and stuff by what they were posting, trying to find things for myself to post as well. That is all fine and dandy if you want to do that. But I also found myself after a while trying to copycat what other people were doing. And there's a couple of things wrong with that. For one, it's not authentic at all. You're pretending to be somebody that you're not. And then if it's not something that you can keep up for, if you're like me, like you're in this, like we're lifers. It's not like a thing that you can keep up, for the rest of your life doing this, pretending to be someone else. And if you are, then the people that reach out to you won't necessarily be your tribe, because you're attracting the wrong people, because you're not necessarily being you. You're copycatting what someone else is doing. So don't be afraid to be you. There is no right or wrong way to do this. People will relate to you in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And if they don't, that's completely fine. They're not your people. Maybe they'll work better with someone else, but don't be afraid to, if someone maybe reaches out to you and after talking to them, or something like that, if it's not a good vibe, don't be afraid to maybe refer them to someone else. I'm a firm believer in karma circling back around and working itself out. So maybe if you help, a fellow coach or something like that, the goodness will come back to you as well. I've realized that there were a couple of girls that have reached out to me. I've tried to work with them. They even signed up. They've joined my groups. But we just did not clash, and they ended up, kind of falling off. And I mean, that's not my fault. It's not their fault. It's just in the beginning, especially being a new coach, and maybe even now, like if you go through like your dry spells and, you don't have people reaching out wanting, help from you, you're taking everybody in. You want everybody to be on your team because, we need to hit SC, or we need to have all of these people on our team. But you're not being true to you. You're not being true to the process. And eventually, the relationships like fizzle out, or you realize that you really don't have anything in common, and then it becomes more of a struggle to try to keep that person like engaged or to connect with them. So just always keep that in mind. Not everybody is going to like you. Not everyone is going to love you, but there are your people out there that will, and it may take a little bit longer to find them. I personally ride the struggle bus on the daily of finding people sometimes that are my tribe, but just know that if you keep being you and being authentic, the right people will eventually come to you, and it will all be worth it in the end. When it comes to telling your story, again, with the copycatting, or copying what other coaches are doing, tell your story for you. You are the only one that has lived through what you've been through. No one else has gone through what you've been through. Nobody knows how you felt in that specific moment of your journey. Only you can tell your story. No one else. There is only one of you. There's only one of your story. There may be someone who has a similar story, but the way that they experience that specific moment is not going to be the same between the two of you. Only you can tell your story. Nobody can duplicate that. And vice versa. That person has their story. Let them worry about them, and you worry about you. Let me see what else I have. So whenever let's say we're struggling to be authentic in our post, to find our voice that speaks to other people. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm a 5 a.m.er. I have to get up early in the morning and do my workout. And I honestly have my freaking best posts and epiphanies when I'm doing my workout. I don't know. Shanti always speaks to me. I've had some of the best posts when I'm doing his workouts. Now with Chris and Shift Shop, I have aha moments. One thing that they said in the Power of I Am training is that if you are in the moment and you're feeling something, pause and make a note of it somewhere so you can come back to it later and make a post about it. There's tons of times where I'm doing a workout and I'm thinking of something that, like, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now. You know, somebody somewhere probably needs to hear this. Pause my workout. Like, I usually do like a voice recording, so then I can come back later. Those moments when, you know, you are working out, you're going through something tough, those are the moments that you need to share. Those are the moments that you're the most vulnerable, and people will relate to that. Do not be afraid to be vulnerable. For those of you that don't necessarily know me because you're not on our team, I am a recovering bulimic. I struggled with it for years and years and years, and thought that I was honestly, like, something was wrong with me because I was going through it. I was ashamed of it. I didn't want to share it with anybody. I just, for fear of being judged. Social media can do that to you. You feel that if you open up, like, you are then labeled as this person. But I came to terms with that probably about a year ago, and just felt it was weighing heavily on my heart. I felt like I was honestly leading a double life, trying to tell my story, but there was this huge chunk of me that I wasn't telling people about. I wasn't portraying to the rest of the world, and I just felt heavy, like, stuff on my heart that I needed to tell the rest of the world that. So really said a prayer, dug heavily into personal development, and started to share my journey. And honestly, when I was super, super open about what I was going through, being vulnerable, letting people know, like, hey, this is what I struggled through, but I'm able to come out on this. Like, Beachbody has saved my life from this. Literally, it allowed for me to become pregnant with my son. Share it, because I swear to you, there is somebody at that specific moment going through what you are going through, and they need to hear what you are saying. Think about where you are right now and where you were before you found Beachbody, and you're sitting there, like, scrolling aimlessly through Facebook, like, wishing, you know, like, you wanted to make all of these changes. You're just desperate for change, and then you come across someone's post and it's what you needed to hear at that specific moment. Just always know that what you are typing, what you are sharing, somebody somewhere needs to hear and read what you are saying, and that you are going through the same thing, and you've been where they were, and there is change that is possible, and you're on the other side. You made it through. You're still fighting for where you're at right now. You're still struggling, but change is possible if you just try. Change is possible. Somebody somewhere needs to hear what you're sharing. Like I said, you're the only one that has been through what you're going through, and especially in that specific moment when you're the most vulnerable, that's when you're the most real. So do not be afraid to share in those real and raw moments. That's what it's about: the good, the bad, the ugly. For me, sharing the really bad and the ugly really works for me. People connect on that, and I get people messaging me all the time, like, you know, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being real and raw. It lets people just know that we're human. You know, we have a past. We're not perfect. You know, that anybody can do this. Anybody can change if they want to, and if they just try, if they just reach out for help like we did. One thing that that helped me a lot, like I said, when I really made the transition into opening up about my past and what I struggled with, was personal development. I'm one of those people where I dabble in it every once in a while. Or, you know, I'll be on a really good personal development kick, and everything is going great. Like, mental game is strong, and then I kind of back off, and then literally, like, everything hits the fan. So I'm a firm believer in always listening to personal development. I do Audible. That works for me while I'm driving. I wanted to share some of the personal development books that I've read and that I'm listening to and reading currently that have really helped me. The first one is, of course, the 5-second rule. That one was a game changer for me, and just any post that I have typed up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, just post it. Somebody somewhere, they need to hear it. Just do it. Close your eyes, press post, and be done with it. I am also listening to, let me show you the picture. I don't know if you can see it. It's called, probably not, I really don't want to cuss. But it's called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. It's very, very vulgar. So if you have children, do not listen to it on Audible. I made that mistake driving down the road with Ethan, getting in my PD in the morning, and all of a sudden he just starts dropping the F-bomb. And I'm like, oh my gosh. But it is a fantastic book about just honestly not giving an F. You share what's on your heart. You know, if people like you for it or they criticize you for it, that's okay. At the end of the day, we're doing this for us and for the people that need to hear it. And then I just ordered Daring Greatly. I don't know who the author is for that, but I can post the author for that. I actually ordered that for a book to read, which is going to be a little bit of a struggle for me because I don't really have time to read. But that one is also to just living in the moment. That one's about vulnerability. So if you struggle with that and really sharing your story, I would definitely recommend getting that one. Let's see what else I have. Oh, and then one other thing that I wanted to talk about. So let's say that you share your heart on one of your posts and maybe you hardly get any likes, comments, or anything like that. But then someone else shares a similar post and they get a ton of likes, ton of comments and stuff like that. That used to really, really bug me. I used to feel that, okay, like if they're posting that and, you know, it's working for them, why isn't someone, or, you know, why am I not getting the same traction and attention and stuff like that? Just know that if you're sharing your story, like I said, somebody somewhere needs to hear it, and go in with the mindset of every single time that you are posting something, it is quality over quantity. It doesn't matter if someone else, that same person, posts and gets hundreds of likes, you know, comments, tons of comments and things like that, but you post the same thing and you don't get a lot. I will message those people, even if it's like a very few people, and the response that I normally get back from that is tenfold for me. You know, people who like just needed to hear that. There's really nothing else to say on that point. I just wanted you guys to know that. Don't compare what you're posting to someone else's post. Just always remember quality over quantity. Just because someone else is getting hundreds and hundreds of likes doesn't mean that they're actually getting something out of that post. Maybe you, like I said, you had hardly anybody like your stuff, but you followed up and you messaged those people and said thank you, and maybe it turns into you know, a possible sale or something like that. So again, don't play the comparison game with what you're posting and the traction you're getting compared to everyone else. I'm trying to think. That's kind of all that I really had. Does anybody have like any questions or anything for me? I kind of like sped through that pretty quick.
I don't have any questions, but I thought it was really, really good. I just loved everything about it. So, I'll get with you to figure out the recording thing, but you really seriously did so awesome for your first Zoom. I was like almost crying.
Does not sound like your first Zoom.
Okay. Well, thank you everybody for getting on. I feel like I'm echoing now. Thank you everyone for getting on. If you have any questions that come up later, if you're watching the recording and you have questions, why don't you go ahead and comment when we put the post, the post in our group, and tag Dana so that you make sure that she sees your question. Thank you again, Dana. Thank y'all for getting on, and everyone have a fabulous Tuesday night. Love y'all. Good night.